Well, good morning, everyone. It still is morning, right? Yeah. As Katie said before, I'm Angie Slawhart. I am the Hancock County FCS agent. I'm employed through KSU. Some people don't know that. The other agents are through UK, but we work together seamlessly and we have some fun and we learn from each other. So, today we're going to talk about indoor air quality. So there's a lot of resources that I can give you, and there's a lot of it in your packet that you got from your agent. So we'll get started. Some things we don't think about is how your indoor quality could affect your health. Okay, so we'll go through this and we'll talk about all the aspects. So first, I want to ask you a question: how much time do you think we spend indoors?
Depends on how hot it is.
Right now, yeah, right now while it's hot, we're spending a lot more time indoors, right? Those weeds in the garden, we're just gonna let them go and let that yard grow a little bit taller and those kind of things. So, what's a percentage? What do you think? More than half, right? So,
Yeah.
I'd say
80%.
80% right now.
Yeah, it's a big percentage in it. I was going to show you a video. There's a couple of links on here, but we can get that to you if you want to watch those. But I couldn't get it to work. So technology is not my friend today, but that's okay. We'll get through it. All right. So the EPA, or the Environmental Protection Agency, estimates that we spend 90% of our time indoors. Of course, if it's cold outside in the wintertime, we want to stay inside too. So if it's hot in summer and cold in the winter, we want to spend a lot of time indoors. So if you think about it, we do spend a lot of time indoors. And since we spend so much of our time indoors, the quality of the air we breathe inside can impact our health. The indoor air quality, this is the definition, refers to the air quality within and around buildings and structures, especially as it relates to the health and comfort of building occupants. Understanding and controlling common pollutants indoors can help reduce your risk of indoor health concerns. I can't share the video. So what causes indoor air problems? If you go to the EPA website, there's a lot of information. There's different definitions. It's got a lot of information. So that would be a website that you could check out for elaborating more on some of these topics here. There are pollutant sources. So anything we spray or anything fragrant, all those different things in your air. Think of the cleaners you use, things you spray in the air. So a lot of people like to spray Lysol and all the different things. Some people like those plug-in things. All that it's a pollutant to your air. Okay, and if your house has inadequate ventilation, then where are these things going? They're staying in your room, right? Or in your indoors. Moisture and humidity problems that can make things worse. So if it's inadequately ventilated and then you have moisture and humidity problems, it's just going to make things worse in your indoors. There are gases that are released into the air. Homes have different systems. You have your heat and air. You have your hot water tank, whether it's electric or gas, or just different. Whatever you have in your home gives different gases or fumes, different things like that. If your garage is attached to your home, you start your car, somehow those things could come into your home also. Proper ventilation can decrease indoor pollutant levels, and by bringing in enough outdoor air to dilute emissions from indoor sources, and by carrying indoor air pollutants out of the home. So our homes do need to breathe a little bit, they need that ventilation. Increased concentrations of some pollutants can be because of such factors as high temperature and humidity level. There is another video on here, and it's from the EEC government. It's .gov, so it's the Environmental Protection Agency also, and it's about indoor air quality. So these videos would be very helpful if I could show it. Here's some suggestions of things that or sources that of indoor air pollution. So think of your home. Do you have a fireplace? Do you have a wood burning stove? Is the fireplace a gas fireplace, or is it a wood burning fireplace? So those are two different contaminants for your home. Cooking appliances. Do you have a gas stove? Do you have an electric stove? Do you have air fryers even emit some fumes, or some smells, so that could pollute your air also. Tobacco products. You have people that smoke in your home, even outdoors, close to the window or the door, or it could come in your home, that kind of thing. Think about your cleaning products, your personal care products, or hobbies. Do you use spray glue maybe to put, if you're doing crafts or hobbies or stuff like that? Lots of things if it has an odor and you smell it, that's a contaminant to your air that you're breathing. Building materials or furnishings. You put down new flooring, you get new carpet. All those things have chemicals and smells that are going to be in home once you bring it in. And then there's radon, and then there's mold. So if we look at fireplaces and leaking chimneys are sources of carbon monoxide in the home. Sorry, I'm getting acclimated to this computer here. Wherever a fireplace is located, have adequate ventilation. Be sure the damper is fully functional and fully open when using. You don't want that to stay in your home. You want it to vent out. And have your chimney checked by a professional to ensure it is properly sealed. Those are things to look for if you have a fireplace and a chimney. If possible, have appliances such as gas stoves vent to the outside, and have all appliances properly installed, used, and maintained to prevent carbon monoxide exposure. So those are where you get your carbon monoxide. Some appliances. Secondhand smoke and aerosol from tobacco products, including electronic cigarettes and marijuana, can trigger asthma and other respiratory illnesses, especially in children and older adults. Do not smoke or vape or allow others to smoke or vape inside your home or car to help protect vulnerable populations. There's a video from the EPA website that has about smoking and electronic cigarettes. There's several videos on that. Common household cleaners release volatile organic compounds when used and stored. Even when they're stored, your cleaners could emit things into your air. Follow all manufacturer's instructions when storing items. Always keep these products away from children. When purchasing cleaners, you consider ones that have no VOCs. Now you always think of when you paint your house. I'm painting our house right now, so it's that smell in there once you start painting or cleaning, things like that. Sources of VOCs in the household products could include paint strippers, other solvents, wood preservatives, aerosol sprays, cleaners and disinfectants, air fresheners, stored fuels, or automotive products, hobby supplies, dry cleaned clothing, and pesticides. I wouldn't think about dry cleaned clothing. A lot of people don't dry clean their clothing anymore, but they do use chemicals to do that process. Potential sources of carbon monoxide in the home include heating and cooling appliances, air conditioning units, gasoline powered heaters, other appliances. Proper installation and usage and maintenance of your HVAC system. Changing your filter, that will help filter out things in your home, in your HVAC system. Some building materials and furnishings. Formaldehyde is an important chemical used widely by industry to manufacture building materials and numerous household products. It is also a byproduct of combustion and certain other natural processes. Thus, it may be present in substantial concentration both indoors and outdoors. Formaldehyde can cause irritation of the skin, eyes, nose, and throat. High levels of exposure may cause some types of cancers. So you don't think about what the chemicals are, but formaldehyde is the big one. It's in a lot of home building products. Radon. Radon is an odorless, invisible radioactive gas naturally released from rocks, soil, and water. Radon can get into homes and buildings through small cracks or holes and build up in the air. Over time, breathing in high levels of radon can cause lung cancer. Did we have that last year? The radon was one of the lessons, so that kind of ties in. Okay.
One thing about the building materials and furnishings, my family's big on firefighters. Used to, you would have about, when a fire started, you'd have about 30 minutes, you only have about 3 minutes now. And it's because of the building materials and things.
So they use a lot of chemicals and things that we don't even think about. You know, you just
Well,
don't think
houses
so.
used to be made of wood. You know, they're not all wood.
Right.
Furniture used to be not, well, I guess you call it now what it is, it's just not true material.
Some kind of composite, yeah.
Composites of
Yeah.
all kinds of things, so,
Yeah.
and so you're really breathing that
Mhm.
all the time.
And you really notice it if you bring something new into your home that wasn't there before. When you go outside and you come in, you're gonna smell those things. So that's a
Well,
sign of
when
it.
you go into a fabric store.
You get,
You
yeah,
know, those styles, your eyes.
Mix of it
water,
all.
Whatever, and.
Mhm.
And about the same thing if it's a lot of new things on the floor and in the. Furnishings, you know, for couches and chairs and that kind of things. You get
and a lot of fabric things are treated with chemicals to make it
Mhm.
stay nice, fresh, crisp, what, you know, that kind of thing. So just a lot of things to think about, but you know.
Well, used to the houses were not built so tight.
Mhm.
Now then everybody wants everything all tight, no leaks and whatever and
Yeah.
so now your house doesn't breathe this easily.
Energy efficient. Now. After radon, we have mold. So mold growth caused by excess moisture, humidity, and water leaks. Control mold by controlling the moisture. So if we want to control our mold, you know, a mold in your house, you need to control moisture. That's a big factor for mold is the moisture level. If you're in your home, I'm talking about the living room here, pet dander and hair. Pets can trigger asthma, allergy reactions, and a lot of it's due to the dander on the hair. You keep them out of the sleeping areas and away from upholstered furniture, carpets, and stuffed toys. You vacuum and clean your carpets, rugs, and furniture often. It will help keep it down. But I know if you had a dog in the house, then you're just gonna have to keep cleaning constantly to keep that down. In the bathroom, you want to control mold as much as possible because that's where bathroom is a big source of humidity and moisture. Use your vent fan to draw that moisture out as you take your shower or bath, and that will help with the moisture content in the bathroom. Make sure you have that. Some older homes may not even have a ventilation fan in the bathroom. I think it may be a code now that has to meet code to have that ventilation fan in your bathroom. You're building something new.
But I think now they don't always vent them out, they just circulate.
Well, and some things are vented to an attic and not outside the home, so that would make a big difference also. If you're just venting that to the attic, the moisture's still gonna be in your home. So that would be a question. If you're building a new structure, where's this gonna be vented? Is it going to just to my attic, or is it going outside of my home? So if you're just circulating that moisture to come right back, so just things to think about, bedroom, dust. We'll say if you come to my house, there's gonna be some dust, so I'm not the best duster, but if you think about it, it's something that we should take care of and do, because the dust mites, that can trigger allergy and asthma attacks. So they're everywhere. Think about the pillows, blankets, carpets, upholstered furniture, and stuffed toys. You want to dust and vacuum regularly to cut down on that kind of stuff in your home. There are different things we can buy now that, the allergen proof mattress and the pillow covers and things like that. But if you dust and vacuum and change your linens regularly, that should help cut down those kind of things. Kitchen, things maybe we spray. Say the ants come in after it rains a lot, and here we go and spray that. So that's it's a pollutant for you to breathe, that you're gonna breathe in. But we don't want ants and things in our kitchen to get in the food, stuff like that. So but these affect all these pesticides or the sprays, all these chemicals are gonna affect they could irritate your eyes, nose, and throat. It damage your central nervous system and your kidneys. Of course, there's always an increased risk of cancer when there's a chemical involved. If you're using sprays or chemicals in your kitchen, don't leave your food out. You want to not have food on the counter if you're going to be spraying, stuff like that. Put the food away before you do that kind of thing. Make sure, you can ventilate during and after you use those to limit your exposure. Maybe you could use non-chemical methods. There are healthier things to use instead of sprays and chemicals. But that's just our go-to, isn't it? Because that's what we've been told. Use this spray. Commercial on TV wants you to buy. Radon is the leading cause of lung cancer among non-smokers in the U.S. It is a naturally occurring radioactive gas, so it's hard to control because it could seep up through the ground, from the ground into your home. So but you can get your home tested if you suspect, and then there are things that you can take measures that way. But the test is not expensive, so some health effects of poor indoor air quality. Indoor air pollution can cause symptoms like irritation of your eyes, nose, and throat, headaches, dizziness, and fatigue. So if you have some symptoms that is not adding up, with something else, then maybe it's some of the indoor air quality is making you have these symptoms. The air quality can aggravate or worsen your asthma or allergies, and it can make it more difficult to fight off infections. So if the air pollution can also cause long-term health problems like respiratory diseases, heart disease, and cancer. All these, you think of your breathing and your body and everything we touch or breathe in, we're putting it in our body somehow. And that could harm us. Sometimes it takes a little longer for it to harm us or show up, but improving indoor air quality. So what is a source control? We think about the ventilation. I love the windows open when it's spring or in the fall when things start cooling off. So think about opening your windows and letting the air out, think about those, need some fresh air in there. There's, we used to have I don't know if y'all ever heard, we used to have a attic fan. And we'd open the windows and you turn the attic fan on and it would pull the outdoor air in and it would cool the house off. I mean, like instantly. So we would open the windows and turn that on at night and it would just bring that cool air in. And you don't see them very often, but we used to have that. Use your bathroom fan or your kitchen fan. Kitchen, if you're that vent fan, if you're cooking something, or even if you're spraying something, like the bug spray or whatever, you can use the ventilation fan to help clear the air. And if they're vented outside, that's really going to help your home. If it's vented just to your attic, it will get it out of that room, but not out of your home. New home designs are adding features to bring outdoor air through the HVAC system. So you might have to do a little research to find out that information. Of how your system is set up, that kind of thing. Air cleaners. There's all kinds of those on the market. So I don't know, the ones that sit in the room, the ones that are connected to your whole house or whatever. So make sure you do your research before you purchase something like that. Let me see. So check around your house, look for things the ways that you can eliminate things yourself. And then you can go to the EPA website for more suggestions of certain things in your home that you think, oh, I need to, look this up and do my research so I can eliminate this thing out of my home, whatever it is. That way, sorry, the cursor has to be in a certain place for it to move on. Okay, so these are the websites that you can get more information. So there's the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. There's the National Institute of Environmental Health and Sciences. United States Department of Labor, the Kentucky Energy and Environment Cabinet, and then the American Living Association. All these are great resources to get more information about the indoor air quality. Well, that was short and sweet. Are these resources on your? If you have a copy of the PowerPoint, it'll be on that last slide. But I looked at the EPA website and they have a lot of. What was that? F8?
Function of eight.
Function. F8. So this is the EPA website, and they have a lot of. It said you can even, it says find a random radon test kit, so you can go there and find a kit that you can test for radon in your home. And then there's some, whoa, sorry, that went fast. So they've got things you can click on, it takes you to more information. So this is a good resource if you're looking for something specific or if you're just educating yourself on this indoor air quality. So when you click on any of those boxes, it takes you to a different page and shows you information about indoor air quality. Or there's all kinds of different the sources and pollutants, that kind of thing. So there's lots of information. Questions, comments? No rude remarks. Okay.